right, welcome to Raising Funds. Welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, day number 265. So it's a very wintry, mid-winter day out, nice and dark. There's a snowstorm. And for today's status update, there is no updates on the rent eviction situation, no additional communications on the anticipated appeal. Those 4 block types are still available in the store. And today I also continued work on the next long form video. Oh yeah, and I also merged in the latest changes from the terminal game. So yesterday I guess I spent most of the stream moving around some of the constants for actually writing out the characters. Characters for the frame, and I'll probably reuse some of those for the button. So it makes sense to kind of centralize those. Orthoplex 64, how's it going? I don't think I graded you yet for the stream. Let me think. That simplifies the index lookup. All right, that looks correct. Don't see any mistakes. Wow, we got another gifted membership. Thank you very much. To WR Logo. Congrats to Rival Doe Jr. 4191. That's a second gifted membership from you was it last stream or a couple of days ago, I think. Shosaki says evening. How's it going? Giordani says, hello there. How's it going? I'm good, sir. Excellent. Everything's with you? Things are going along. I'm making a little bit of progress on the tasks that I'm working on each day. I've been working on a long-form video, another long-form video for, you know what, I think we're going to miss I was trying to put out one every 3 weeks, but I'm going to miss my deadline. This one's there's quite a few more details in this next video, so, but I want to get it polished before I put it out. And other than that, I'm slowly making, an hour of progress per day on the block mining game. Right now I'm just making some helper functions to make it a bit easier to make a border for the button I'm adding. What's your lean business video? Oh, how to start a business video? Or the one on the lean startup? My review of lean startup? Not sure it's possible to apply the applied learnings to pure merch. I picked that example because it's like one of the most easy to explain, but I think it generalizes to most other, like the core argument I'm making is just more of like a statistical one about there's a cost of money and time to getting data. Yeah, it's hard to get the data to make meaningful decisions. It's also another big problem. Like I've been pursuing entrepreneurship for 10 years now, and the world is changing too fast. Like by the time I do an experiment or something and get some data, the world works a totally different way. Like I remember I was doing all this networking with people. And so, of course, I just said I'll go meet with other people, network with other people who are in the same kind of category and are also successful. And this one guy I met, he made money doing WordPress setups, installations, and stuff. And he handed me some brochures of stuff he was doing. And I think even at that time, it was kind of late to be doing that kind of stuff. But nowadays, nobody's going to pay. Years ago, you could probably get many thousands of dollars, get a recurring contract to maintain some WordPress website. But and maybe if you already have existing contracts, people would pay for that. But that's a really rough business to be in today. No text says, hello, how's it going? It's you need to have a working prototype in weeks or months. Yeah, it's not just about the prototype too, because once you have a prototype of something, how do you get the data to know if the prototype is good or not? You also have to have an audience or some kind of, you either have to have an existing audience or existing customers to get the data from about whether you can make sales, or you have to have massive capital investments to fund the marketing, and you can just hire sales guys to call a bunch of people, but then also you need data on who to call. What about selling tacos? That could work. Expectations about software have never been higher. And all the slop being generated by AI will need support. Tech debt must be off the charts. Yeah, it's the world we're living in, things are becoming so crazy and absurd. It's like some of the outputs that I see from AI are like, they're so good, they're just like surreal. But at the same time, it's everything is getting worse. Like everything is becoming, like the best outputs from AI are amazing, but the worst outputs are becoming more common, and they're just like absurdly wrong. Like I was doing some like just quick math. I've made a habit of over the years, if I just want to calculate something, I would just type it in like Google, because Google has a calculator. I'd say like 10 million minus 57 blah blah blah, and then Google would give me the answer, because it recognized, oh, this is a mathematical this is a mathematical expression, so it would just evaluate the mathematical expression using like an actual calculator. Recently, I noticed that I was typing things into Google, and it was not putting it through the calculator pathway. It was putting it through a large language model. So I was doing some math on something, and I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't, it looks off a little bit. And then I just redid the calculation, I researched the same thing, and the number changed. And then I realized, oh, it's using an LLM to predict the like multiplication, and subtraction that I was doing. And it was like, it would like swap the characters sometimes and stuff. So it was doing like calculator math with an LLM and giving me random wrong results. And at first I didn't notice. I was just taking the results for granted. I was talking to my parents the other day, and they were saying like, they went to search for what are the sunrise and sunset times, and Google said something that was like completely, totally wrong. And they were precise about it too. They included the time zone, but it was just totally wrong for no reason. I was watching a documentary about the Amish. It started to look better and better to be exclusive for modern society. Yeah, it's everything is just slop now. I'm planning on running an AI simulation of life that goes from child to deceased. This proves if AI takes over everyone. It sounds neat. Hopefully it doesn't take over. Perhaps the future is in quality control. Yeah, I mean, it's clear that there is still a need for a human in the loop on a lot of this stuff. Like the AI is getting good. It's good at like navigating the search space quite fast, but I'm starting to like wonder a bit about like maybe there is like the tremendous amount of data that we've thrown at the AI. Like I was watching a talk where someone was trying to figure out, come to like some assessment about whether we are on the cusp of general AI yet or not. And from what I've seen, it almost seems like when you ask an AI something, it almost seems like if you take your query or your prompt, you can like you could map that into like a set of like logic statements about saying like the output must satisfy this constraint and this constraint and this constraint or this constraint, and what you get back is a random permutation where some of those constraints are satisfied. So if you ask for only one constraint, so give me like a blue giraffe, the probability that it gives you that output is very high. But if you ask for a blue giraffe, and it has wheels and it has 10 different things, then the more constraints you add, the lower the more those like probability of errors adds up. It makes me wonder if there's not if there isn't some like entropy argument, like maybe the human mind is just a little bit more energy efficient in satisfying all those constraints at once than the topology of circuits. But who knows? It's already getting like crazy smart. Crazy how AI overview answers are total crap, but AI mode results are usually good. Yeah, it's that's what's kind of interesting about our future. Like the state of the art AI is actually really amazing, but yet like old things that used to work for years, like calculator results, are wrong now. It's the issue with diffusion models. The formula is stochastic. Usually these days, companies have switched to flow matching formula. Interesting. I don't know too much about the details of the models. Thinking about getting into 3D rendering. Want to learn linear algebra, calculus. Yeah, I've never really done much 3D rendering. It is something that I think I probably could have been. I could have easily gone down that path and got interested in it, but there's too much stuff to focus on. Yeah, it's given me confidence to literally get into any field, at least at a beginner level. I was always one of those annoying kids who has too many questions. Yeah, the world is amazing now for the curious people who want to figure out how anything works. There's too much information now. It's exciting. It's exciting and worrying at the same time. Nobody who doesn't have big bags can feel safe with the future right now. Yeah, it's certainly a really interesting time. Like, I don't think as much about the risks of the AI itself, but one of the things I've been more cognizant about, especially from spending a lot of time on social media, is like you notice some of the patterns of like behavior that's not organic, like growth or non-organic growth in certain things, and like, you know, I think the average person does not understand how good large language models are now, and how like you cannot tell. Like I'm way past the point where I'm totally confident that I don't know if any of the people in chat are real people anymore, because it's, you know, the ChatGPT is absolutely able to you know, keep up any kind of level of dialogue. Like you can't just look for, you know, certain dash characters or something. And that's I think that the biggest consequences of that, like for politicians, I think that may be a significant risk going forward. Like, it's, if an old person on Facebook is tricked by an AI, you know, and then they buy a service they don't need, that's kind of like, whatever. It's not going to collapse the world. But if politicians start getting like radicalized, or they start like seeing, you know, AI slop on the internet, they go on Twitter or like, you know, it's like a bot attack or something that targets a politician to convince them of something, then the politicians have power, so they can change laws and they can respond to it. And not even me. No, not even you. It's that's the world we're living in now. It's no way to know for sure. Introduces massive vectors of uncertainty as well, including economic volatility. What if Nvidia crashes tomorrow? It'll crash the entire sector. I think it's probably being I don't think it'll crash tomorrow unless the government wants it to crash tomorrow. It seems like it's in that category of thing where the government has decided that that's where all the investment dollars are going to go. But then again, like the actual price of a stock or currency, that's getting increasingly impossible to predict, just because the government can arbitrarily just print more money or make something go up or down at the stroke of a pen. don't know if real-time stream interpretation exists yet. I'm pretty sure it does. Actually, there was one chatter in my live stream who said he actually built that as a service and sold it to someone like a couple of years ago. So like a random. In fact, I'm 100% sure it exists now for moderation. And there have actually been other bots that I've seen come into stream, and they literally said like, "Hello, I am a ChatGPT bot. Please say this command." And then like it was, I didn't say what they were asking, and then it like started spewing errors or something. I mean, it could have been a just someone pretending. I think I actually had to ban them because I think it got stuck and it started spamming the same thing over and over again. Kevin Coolin says, Roberto, how's it going? Do you think IA will take AI take all the tech jobs? It'll take some. AI cannot be held responsible, so there'll be always be at least be a CTO. Yeah, I think honestly, if it really takes all the tech jobs, like on some level, so like some level of computer programming or like program design, program architecture, there will always be like unless we literally automate all jobs, like the software architect is going to be the last job to automate, because if we actually automate that, then we would actually have like runaway improvement on things. Like we could probably sufficiently design and optimize robots that could like carry out like real life manipulation tasks. Can always become a plumber as plan B. What if we automate plumbing? Silly to blame Grok because people have to do inappropriate stuff. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of that. Are some people making that, like there's some lawsuits and stuff going on, but I think that most of the people who are angry about that are kind of missing the bigger picture. Is that like Grok is one of like thousands of models that are capable of doing that now. And in the future, like, what if we have, what if the first thing during World War III is we have bots that start like mass spamming stuff like that to random people? Like, we need to think about a bigger picture solution to the problem, as opposed to just litigating the individual cases, because that stuff is here to stay. I mean, you can always do that with Photoshop. If I explicitly go around trying to get Grok to generate inappropriate images, it's on me. Yeah, I think in that case, it's going to have to be the blame is going to have to be on the person creating the thing. Because it's like with it's like if you paint a picture and the picture has a very specific message, it's like a super stylized message of like, hate speech or threats or something, then it's like an elaborate way of just doing something illegal. But I guess the difference now is that it's way more easy to like accidentally do this stuff. So the barrier for intent is lower. Like if I write some big long harassing email or letter or something, I really have to sit down and think about that to do it. But now you can just like command a bot to do something, and like set, you can use like 2 or 3 words. I don't know. It's an interesting. It's an interesting problem to be litigated. I think probably what's going to happen is people are just going to grow thicker skin. People are going to become normalized to the fact that we have AI bots creating all sorts of nonsense. Bots trying to moderate bots in real time. yeah, it's going to be a bot, or that's the future. It's going to be fought in the battleground of cyberspace. This was centering the text before, but now it's not for some reason. All right, there's the top half of a button. Thoughts on freemium model being dead, particularly the support sales model, combined with OSS. The freemium model. So I guess I don't recall it the precise definition of a freemium model, but I assume that generally means like when you give the product away for free, then you figured like some way to monetize it. Like you have a support version where you charge for it, or an enterprise version. Well, that goes back to, I think, some of our earlier conversation. I don't know if you were here for that, but when we talked about I can't remember if you or someone else, but we talked about just getting enough sample data for your business, and that's one of the main challenges. So I'm not even sure I accept the premise that model is dead, because to get data, to get information, you have to get people to put eyeballs on whatever you're doing. And giving if you try to charge right off the bat, almost certainly you're just never going to get sales. So to get some data to even know how to develop the product, I think why people went with that model was just to get people in the door and train them to like your product and build a relationship with them. I don't know, in some ways, with all the AI stuff, the value of trying to keep your code proprietary, I think, is going to go down. Like if you have a piece of code with people generating millions of times more slop generated AI code, proving stuff like copyright infringement is going to get more difficult now. And I think it's probably going to move to the capitalistic growth is probably going to even move in the direction where, if you even accuse someone of copyright infringement, or you try to litigate copyright infringement, that's probably going to be a losing business model. Because software is just so cheap to create, but not even even if it's still difficult to create, the fact that AI, the court battles, I think, are going to be more difficult. But yeah, I think there are significant questions about how our economic models are going to go forward in the future. We have so many contradictions where supposedly it's never been easier to get AI to just auto-generate creative outputs, but in the real world, we have a significant lack of housing. Housing has never been bigger of a problem. We have these insane, think about how much more productive a modern piece of farm equipment is compared to picking potatoes 100 years ago. A machine can pick it's 10,000 times more productive than a human at farming, but yet the cost of food, if you boil it down to how many hours did a peasant have to work to get a piece of food out of their garden 300 years ago, versus how many hours do you have to work today to get that same piece of food? It's almost like it hasn't changed. How much work is it to go walk outside, put a seed in the ground, and then water it, and maybe pick some weeds every now and then. And even if you don't pick the weeds, it'll be fine. Versus that same. Actually, I was at the grocery store to buy some Brussels sprouts today, and they were $8. So I don't know what's going to happen with the economy in general. I think we're accelerating towards some sort of breaking point. Some things, some of our systems and models are going to break in the near future, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Rory Sutherland talked about it recently in an interview. In the UK 100 years ago, it was just normal that the contents of a house would cost as much as the house. Now it's a rounding error. 100 years ago, it was normal that the contents of a house would cost as much as the house. Yeah, you're right. Everything is junk and disposable now. These days, if you leave your possessions, the landlord will probably charge you extra money for leaving behind a bunch of garbage they have to throw away. I visited Canada 15 years ago. Brighton near Toronto. Housing was so much cheaper than in Europe. Things have changed drastically. Yeah, that's why these inconsistencies have to get resolved first before, like we keep talking about. Like in my mind, there's a very fundamental problem. There's a very fundamental contradiction. Like if we go back in time, 400 years ago, and you say like, what are the What are the necessities of life? What do you have to do when you wake up? In my interpretation of the world, jobs are equivalent to problems. And people say, oh, we're going to be out of jobs, but we have all these problems. AI is going to automate everything, and we're going to have no housing and no food. So how are those two things possible? That AI is going to automate all the work, but yet no one can have anything that they need to live. Those two things don't make sense to me, and I think at some point, unless the government slowly, in like a roundabout way, basically makes it illegal to be alive. Like if they make it illegal to grow your own food, they make it so you have to go to school for 10,000 years to get a degree. If it just becomes like illegal to participate in society, I don't know. That's one possible place where we're headed. Oh, that's already there. Kind of is illegal to be alive. Need an expensive home address to do anything? Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, homelessness is becoming increasingly normalized, which is, it's kind of crazy in a way. Like the government's failed policies. Like I can understand why. Like it makes sense for it to be illegal to set up a homeless encampment in an upscale neighborhood somewhere. Like you don't want tents and non-trash burning and stuff in your expensive neighborhood. You paid to be there, so you have the legal right to have that property. And so that has been enforced, but increasingly there's like this growing. It's like a new species of human that's like an off-grid human, and the government's attempts to kind of tame the wild human and domesticate them, bring them into society, is failing. So we have this like massively, rapidly growing and expanding, and I mean, in another way, like I've said before, I think capitalism, it's more of like an intrinsic property of physics. And when you think about it in a capitalistic way, if it's economically cheaper to reproduce humans by having them be homeless, like if you just have a mass number of, if you take two populations of humans, you let one group of humans live like animals outside in the woods, and then another group of humans they have to live in spend 10,000 years in school. They don't have time to like form relationships. They can't afford children. They have to live in boxes and pay massive they have to pay someone else's mortgage for an apartment building. in 100 years, what will the population of those two groups be? We may just end up with like a runaway explosive population of people that like don't even that don't work within the system, not because they don't want to, but because it's mathematically not possible to buy into the system. Didn't see it coming that AI would take away creative jobs, as people are still picking junk from the street by hand. Yeah, we have so many contradictions now. I mean, there's still AI still hasn't permeated into every role yet, and I think we still like the forcing function is going to be the economics of whether, like, there's still, I'm sure there's still people out there who would do things the old-fashioned way, but they will get completely outcompeted over the next 10 years or something if they don't buy into the AI. My European perspective is pessimistic, because housing has been catastrophically bad for decades. It is still either worsening or just not improving. It's not like things need to correct. Yeah, I'm not sure what the future is for Europe. So I guess presumably you're physically in Europe. Is Europe as bad as they as what I see in the news? That I know particularly in the UK, their issues with immigration have been pretty bad. It's hard to get a good picture on things, though. In London, UK. What's your perspective on London? Is the immigration an issue in your opinion? And how about all those like censorship laws and stuff? Like, I keep seeing stuff that apparently mass amounts of people are being arrested in the UK for posting things on social media. Censorship worries me short term. It's very rare that you say anti-government stuff. You get a knock in the door. Interesting. Yeah, the one of the I've thought about that, and one of the most, I guess, unfortunate, like one of the biggest chilling effects of, I think, of censorship of increasing censorship is it's not necessarily even just the censorship level, because if you know what the censorship level is, then you can, like, if it's passed down from your parents or something like that, and you know you're not allowed to say certain things, then you can just not say those things. But when censorship is tightening, you don't know how much it's tightening. So if you want to be on the safe side, you have to overcorrect for the censorship, and then you have to wait until you see, like, stuff that other people do, and then you can be like, okay, so and so said this and they didn't get a knock at the door, then you're like, that's okay. So that's one of the unfortunate parts. Like, while you're going through the increase in censorship phase, you don't know what's fair game or not, because I think a lot of the stuff, like, Canada's trying to copy a lot of what is going on in the UK with the censorship laws, all the digital ID, and the insane immigration policies. Chilling effect is real. There's a loophole right now. You can buy SIM cards for cash without showing ID. Last country in Europe, alongside Portugal, where this is possible. Oh wow! So there's a black market for communicating to the outside world. It's becoming like North Korea. A good chunk of the world is now Edelwald. Oh, that's a thing. I keep hearing about all these bills and stuff. Like, there's a lot of crazy, stupid censorship bills in this country and the U.S. and UK, but I never. They get defeated and then they get amended, and so I guess it is the case now. As I understand, it's the case now that you actually get like something that pops up and say you have to verify you're an adult. That's actually kind of crazy. That's maybe even a bit more extreme than I thought. I guess maybe I haven't been reading enough propaganda about how bad things are. Said inappropriate stuff. Detected attempts to de-anonymize. What happens is that my Twitter account gets locked until I show ID. They also have to delete their verification data. They can also be sued if they can't prove they verified. So they can't delete the verification data. Oh yeah, I think I recall that. Yeah, I mean that's for like random private websites to be required to keep this data. It's you might as well make it all public. James Goodrich sends $10. You mustn't forget to read your propaganda. Thank you. I'll make sure to read some more tonight to get up to date on the latest propaganda about censorship in the UK. And unlock is basically so you show ID so they can easily knock on your door. That's annoying. They should really police some more. Like from what I understand, there's a lot of stuff. There'll be a lot more better uses of those police outreach visits. Some crimes are pretty bad. Murder is low by American standards. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of lots of property crimes, and there's lots of much better chaos that they could pursue over there than bothering people who are posting mean tweets. Looks like one of my comments didn't show. Oh, that's the YouTube censorship kicking in. I don't have any I don't have any moderation rules, so whatever got censored is if you change this is the live chat, and if you switch it to top chat, I think, or no, it's on top chat right now. And then if you switch it to live chat, you might see your chat, but and other people can see that too, but I just leave it on the default. Actually, I like having it so people know when they're getting censored. I have found that the YouTube censorship, it's very unpredictable, and I haven't figured out exactly what. Like when I first started, I thought it would be like inappropriate words, or like, the standard, naughty, inappropriate, substance use type stuff. But it seems to be like very specific things about one of the most common things is when people make jokes about conspiracy theories. Those are a big one to get censored. And then like if people mention the Federal Reserve, that's a big one. And the night that well, I think there's actually even some of that going on now, when there's stuff going on in Iran. The night that I think Israel attacked Iran, someone was talking about like what was happening, and those comments all got censored. So yeah, that's what YouTube doesn't want you talking about. On the bright side, they didn't lock you up. Not yet. Oh yeah, yet. But I guess I'll have to read some more extremist right-wing propaganda to figure out what I can and can't say. As I mentioned, I would say, I could say before I see now that Amish make some good points. Used to think they were nuts. Yeah, they definitely have. I mean, honestly, I think we could. There's no reason why we couldn't have a society that uses electricity. Like we could take the best of both. We could have the best of normal society and of like the Amish kind of societal structure. But I don't know, somewhere we went astray. Last comment didn't show. Nice. Yeah, I've seen, it seems like the censorship is like, it almost seems like a moving average. It kind of seems like when the censorship starts kicking in, and like people say a few things to get censored, then it'll start like censoring more stuff. Honestly, it's kind of funny because usually when when I figure out what people actually said, usually they'll like talk in code or something. It's like almost never an actually harmful stuff. But then when people come in and talk about like nonsense and swearing and stuff, it'll just show that. Like there's people who will come in and just start like spamming a racial slur, and YouTube is totally okay with that. But you don't talk about the Federal Reserve. Possibly to make sure chat doesn't get too out of hand. Yeah, it's not clear to me if it's like sometimes it's doing it to keep the chat pleasant, or if it's like they actually think these comments are a threat. Would have probably triggered naughty mode in the chat. RIP Christmas 2026. Yeah, who knows? It'd be interesting to know how the moderation system works. That's almost right. The left border. So top has right connection. It looks right. Maybe when the hamster gets tired enough, takes a break. The next comment doesn't get shown. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe the hamster is doing the censoring, and the hamster gets tired. It just lets through all the bad chats. Lets people talk about the Federal Reserve. Okay, I'm almost getting there. Right connection, top connection. I think that's right. Okay, let's see what the other one does. Oh, there we go. Look at that. A button. A button in the terminal. That's not a big red button that launches the delete all things pipeline. I could make it red. I guess eventually I can maybe add a style theme, a picker or something for customization. Where can I read about this project? There's a link in the description. There's a GitHub repo, and in the GitHub repo, it's fairly well documented. I think there's some videos, YouTube videos on the channel about it. Well, I guess I'll probably leave there for tonight. I don't know. I was thinking about maybe changing that to use the single line character, but I don't know. We'll figure that out. I guess the next steps are, because I want to use this input form probably in a lot of places. I need to fix the navigating through it. So right now we can only just tab down, but I'll make it eventually so you can like the up arrow, up and down arrow will toggle through the input elements of the form in the button. And then also I need to exclude the label because that's taking the focus. And then I guess the next thing would be when I press enter on the submit, that needs to actually do something. So that'll have to implement like a callback for like on submit or like on button press or something. And then guess the other thing I could probably I probably want to have like an error message menu, and I guess I can do that with the labels. All right, that'll be it for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night for day 266, I guess. All right, have a good night, guys. Hello to Railway Moot GT. Sorry, end of stream.